Okay. Podcast number 3. So, finding grounding, navigating life's shadows and lights. So, Shelley has basically done tons of work with shadow work, and we're also both into Gene Keys, Genekeys, which talks about like your life's work and your shadows and your gifts and your essence and all this stuff. It's really neat. We'll do another podcast on that later. YouTube. We'll put some of this up on YouTube, yes. And I haven't used Rumble yet, but we could check that out. Mm-hmm. Okay. I need to figure out also how to download stuff from Twitch. Like, I know how to use Descript, and I know how to use Video AI and make some reels and stuff, but I know how to also post on YouTube. But Rumble, I don't know how to do that yet. Okay. How do you want to start us off with shadow work? Shelley's previous screen name was Shadow Shelley, and she very much identified herself with Shadow Shelley, playing around in the shadows all the time. What are you doing?
I'm looking up something.
Okay, she's looking up something. Shadow work is, remember earlier I talked about safety, connection, and fulfillment? Sometimes your shadow self like comes out when like it wants to be seen, or it might be really coming out when you start shining some light on it. And in the previous cards we drew was integration. And part of that is also like integrating your child self into your current self. Some people come up and they say, this is the new me. And it's just like one little teeny version of them. And then when something from the past comes and hits them, it just knocks them right down. But if you have the new me, plus like all the versions of all of you, your whole life behind you being like, yeah, let's take aligned action. Let's take inspired action. Let's get it. Then when something comes and pushes on you, you're like, we got this. Mm-hmm. Part of that is that shadow work to make yourself feel like, yeah, it's okay. Like things have happened. It's okay. It's fine. The mess is the message. It's like the hard way, the hard work is the easy way. Mm-hmm. And it's like moving yourself into that place by integrating yourself, bringing all versions of yourself.
I find that when I'm in my past is when my shadow is really coming out, and that's like not in the memories in the positive way, but more in just like the projections of things that I thought were true and aren't true, or parts of myself that I kept hidden and now I no longer mask, so they can potentially come out and show. A lot of times shadows can be addictions for people, and that in my case is one of my journeys, is my addictions. And so it is very important to not continue to suppress the shadow, but instead bring that to the light. Because when you bring the shadow part of yourself to the light, then you can really start to integrate and make them commingle and basically get along, being.
Yeah, like commingle, like to integrate, to bring together. Mm-hmm. If you just have concrete and you just pour it, it's not super strong. But if you take rebar and you lay it in there and make a grid and you connect all the pieces of yourself together and then you pour the concrete out, you're gonna have a really nice foundation to build on, right? And but you have to do the excavation work of the shadow work of, I was leading with my ego there. Maybe I should not do that. Maybe I should lead with my heart sometimes. Just like the card you pulled, where is it? Like leading with your heart, right? She's literally, her chest is fully open. Her heart is fully open. She's releasing things. And it's kind of the same thing with the concrete example. It's you excavate the dirt, you get down to bedrock. You put some gravel there, you work on it. It's just like a garden. It's if your garden's not doing so well, like check your mental health, right? It's just like that book from, I think it's Gardening with Marcus. He writes a book about how when you take care of your garden, it's a reflection of your mental health and vice versa. And that's like doing the shadow work, like tending to the plants and the weeds and tilling the soil. And, I think this needs a little water. There's something going on here. Like maybe I need some ladybugs to eat the aphids. And it's like, you do that with yourself with the shadow work.
Yeah, it's been very enlightening because I noticed that some of the patterns I had during my addiction, even though I no longer partake in alcohol and whatnot, I still see those shadow patterns. I see those patterns and those behaviors, and they've actually cropped up very recently. And so then I've had to sit and like kind of work with myself and create the grounding and the structure that feels comfortable, so I like am willing to receive the information I need to move forward, to make sure my nervous system feels comfortable with making changes instead of just staying stuck in the same way of being. And that's those patterns. Those are like creating new rewiring in your brain.
Yeah, like we've all done things that kept us safe when we were little.
Yeah.
Or even as an adult. And it's these default network paths that are kind of like an energetic rut. And the reason it's an energetic rut is because it's not that we were safe there. It's that we were familiar there. And so sometimes we get stuck there thinking that we're safe, but we're actually not safe. The safest thing would be to actually dig yourself out of the rut. But like that is like taking yourself out of the I'm in a rut to, oh, I'm in a rut temporarily, and I'm going to do this shadow work in the shadow and get out. And it's, I don't know, it reminded me of this book called The Wind-Up Bird Chronicle, where this guy is deep in this well and he's just sitting in his own shit of his mind. And it's, okay, how are you going to get out? What could I do to get out? Like your intention of, this is the new moon. What is your intention? What are you going to get out? What are you going to manifest? What are you doing? And like part of that is doing the shadow work. And in Shelley's recent ecstatic dance, they talked about the dark feminine energy, the creativity coming from within, going out. You want to speak to that a little bit?
Just the dark feminine energy is sometimes construed as being negative, but it's not. It's actually the confident part of the woman. It's the seductress. It's the creator. It's a whole bunch of different things that are actually really beautiful, but for whatever reason, some people have vilified that until it's the bitch. But it's far deeper than being like the bitch, because it's more complex. But women have been taught to be perfect in all ways. That's not the way it is.
Men too, to some extent, right? You know, go to work and get paid and do. And
right.
It's, hold up. Can you be a man by just being a man? Or do you have to only be thought of by what you do and contribute? And so that's some shadow too from the ego side. If you look at all the chakras of the body, solar plexus, ego, like that can feel very rewarding, some of that ego work, right? But then some of that ego stuff could be a little on the shadow side. And it's, wait, do I really need to do that? Or can I just be sovereign in myself knowing that I did a great job or whatever? So it's like taking your shadows, putting a little light onto them, putting love and light on them.
Love and light.
And bringing them together, being like, hey, like you don't have to hide in the shadow. It's okay to come out. It's okay to move forward. We can bring you together. Because trust me, there's some shadow sides of me that can be very powerful, that can also be very helpful. And it's nice to have that ready if you need that.
That's the integrated. That's your integrated shadow part.
Yeah. Okay, is there anything else you want to say about this one? Okay. Zeal, thank you for all the suggestions. We're definitely going to take a look at all that.
Yeah.
Let's see. You want to do another card, before the next segment? Okay, let me switch it.
Okay.